Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us for our playoff semi-final second leg review. I've had to put that up at the bottom. I'm getting the signal that our internet connection is not good. Please accept my humblest apologies. It will clear up. Please don't fill the comments with complaints. If you would like to complain about the quality of the picture, you can do so privately via my email address or Twitter or Instagram. What we will do in order to make life a little bit easier is we'll go straight across to the split screen. Well, it hopefully sorts itself out. Let me know. You can see me, hear me loudly and clearly, and we will get into our playoff semi-final second leg discussion. And we now know that the playoff final will be between Brentford and Swansea next Saturday. I cannot wait. And we've all hopefully calmed down after Saturday's events, particularly that first game between Brentford and Bournemouth, which I cannot wait to talk to you about, hopefully, with a settled internet connection here. First of all, let me just do my normal thank yous. Thank you to Russ, who is our fan sponsor for our championship review shows. Russ, a fan and now a friend, despite Ben's terrible taste in football teams. Thank you very, very much to Russ. You can get involved over on Patreon. That's where Russ got involved. Patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Go and get involved over there. You can support via Super Chat any point during the broadcast. First Super Chat becomes the king of the bin. And of course, please hit like and subscribe. 16,400 and something. I cannot think. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to keep that message up at the bottom there as we just wait for, hopefully, our internet connection to stabilize a little bit here in Bedfordshire. Today, let's say hello to everyone, to Liam, to Jack, to Chris, to Adam, to Lee. Iain, we'll get to that. Don't you worry. We will get to that. Gibbler, Owen, Swanscast, Mr. E, Sam, Jack. Forest Green kicked off, didn't it, last night? Tremendous stuff. Hi to Sophie and Amanda and AJ. There we go. We just got about everybody shouted out. And of course, it was in our first game over the weekend. It was Brentford 3, Bournemouth 1 in an absolute, carnage playoff special, wasn't it? Absolutely brilliant stuff between Brentford and Bournemouth. Bournemouth, of course, had the 1-0 lead from the first leg, but Brentford, in the end, as they did last season, came back from a 1-0 lead to win 3-1 on the day and 3-2 on aggregate in an absolute barnstorming, action-packed game for sure. Here were the teams, and if you can see them, Raya in goal for Brentford. Dalsgaard returns, but it's not as simple as it looks because Christian Norgard was in the starting lineup and Dalsgaard was going to be playing at right wing back. But Norgard got injured in the warm-up, so Roerslev ends up starting. So the three centre-halves are Dalsgaard, Janssen and Pinnock. Roerslev plays at right wing back and Canos plays at left wing back. It's then Janelt and Jensen in central midfield with Marcondes starting in there over Tariq Fosu. And yes, he is going to make a difference, Marcondes, for sure. Up top, Ivan Toney, as you would expect. Brian Mbeumo gets the start after that big miss in the first leg. And on the bench, it's who's not there that's the issue. Rico Henry does not make the bench. He now, by the time we get to the final, there's going to have been nearly a fortnight between that Monday game and this Saturday. Can Rico Henry get himself fit for the final? The bench, as it stands, was Daniels, Good, Reed Stevens. Bidstrup got us Force. More from him later. And Tariq Fosu. For Bournemouth, all eyes were on Steve Cook and Ben Pearson. Ben Pearson makes it. Steve Cook, the captain, doesn't, to be replaced by Chris Mepham. More from him later as well. Otherwise, we are unchanged for Bournemouth. Begovic in goal. Smith, Carter Vickers, Mepham in for Captain Cook and Kelly. Lerma and Pearson. Pearson shakes off the hip niggle. Brooks, Billing and Danjuma, the danger man, off Dominic Solanke. And here we go then, guys. Get your comments in what was just a tremendous playoff semi-final. And look, we've got a fair few pictures to get through, so let's do it. And have you ever seen anything like this? So count them up. This is Brentford defending a corner in the first leg of a playoff semi-final. Sorry, in the second leg of a playoff semi-final. Jason a 1-goal lead. Brian Mbuemo, who takes the corner, is not in the picture, but a quick little, it'll take you two hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So Brentford, utter suicide. I couldn't figure out what on earth had happened. I thought, had somebody gone off to get treatment, or were they temporarily over at the dugout, or had someone fallen over? What had gone wrong here? So there's Cameron Carter-Vickers clearing the ball. Arnott Danjuma's not stupid, is he? He's already on the move thinking, look, if this gets kicked up the pitch, I'm in on goal, for goodness sake, from about 60 yards. Danjuma does really well. Jensen, who was carrying a little bit of a knock and looked running a bit gingerly, can't catch him. And of course, Arnott Danjuma is a quality player and runs it straight up the pitch and finishes it. Have you ever seen anyone set up for a corner like that in your life? Not even having someone halfway between the halfway line and whatnot. Oh, my goodness me. Absolutely incredible stuff. We were waiting for Rico Henry to race back and clear, yeah. And you'd have been waiting a long, long time. Deary, deary me. On we go, though. And really, that was actually quite good for the game, Bournemouth taking the lead, because it really meant Brentford had to go for it, didn't they? And they don't have to wait long for the equaliser. And here is Emiliano Marcondes about to cross the ball. Now, look at what I want you to do when we discuss this penalty, because it's a penalty, so we get debate over it, even though I think it's a fairly clear one. There is Lloyd Kelly. Now, he has utterly no need to slide in there. If he stands up, he could put his hands behind his back and probably likely still make the cross. This is about adjustment to the way the laws are nowadays. And the second you as a defender throw yourself in like that and throw your hands up in the air, put your hands up in the sky, it's on you. I'm sorry. It is on you. As soon as you do that, I do not for 1 minute buy the argument, well, where's he supposed to put his hands? That's almost like, I don't know, me stubbing my foot whilst burgling a house and saying, oh, your house is dangerous. Why am I in there in the first place? Do you know what I mean? So look, as always, we will refer to the handball wording, and there's two incriminating things here. One, and it's bullet point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The hand arm has made the body unnaturally bigger. And 2, the hand arm is above their shoulder, the shoulder level, unless the player deliberately plays the ball, which he doesn't deliberately play it to hit his hand, does he? And it touches the hand arm. So the truth is, even if you don't think that this is a penalty, I do. I think there's two things there: unnatural position out like that, and above the shoulder line as well. Even if you don't think it's a penalty after all that, you've got to be saying to Lloyd Kelly, why are you sliding in? And as soon as you slide in, you know your arms are going to be out somewhere and the ball can be blocked by them. And you know, especially if it was a Premier League one with VAR, you know that this is getting given. Get your comments in on it. It's a fairly clear one for me, looking at those laws, particularly arm in unnatural position and above the shoulder line as well. And of course, Ivan Toney steps up as he always does. I think that's 10 out of 10 penalties this season. He thinks he's John Walk, doesn't he? John Walk, 14 out of 14 for Ipswich in the 80-81 season. Look at that, cool as you like, top corner, right-hand side. And then one of the most iconic images from the weekend, the Bournemouth captain, in Steve Cook's absence, is Asmir Begovic. And yes, this is S-housery of the absolute highest level. So Toney kicks it into the top corner. It bounces back off the net. Toney quickly goes and grabs the ball, and he's going to run back to halfway line and put the ball down. Now, we do get some people who incorrectly argue, oh, it's Bournemouth's kickoff, so they should have the ball. No, that's not what the laws say. The laws say it is an offence to delay the restart. It doesn't matter whether it's your kickoff or not. If someone is carrying the ball back to halfway line, whichever team you're on and whoever has just scored, if you try and grab the ball off them, you are delaying the restart. And Begovic knows that. And it's a very, very clear, unsettling tactic that got Mr. Begovic quite a lot of heat over the weekend. I don't think many people were impressed that a player of his ability and experience was conducting himself in such a manner. Let's have a look at some comments. What are we saying? Anything on the penalty? Definite pen, beautifully put away by Ivan Toney. Absolutely a stonewall. I'm not sure anyone could argue it, despite the reactions. Hilarious Begovic. So, I think S-housery, absolutely. I agree it's a penalty. But I do think when running, it's not always easy. I think I'm trying to read that right, to keep your arms down low as needed. It's certainly a lot easier, Lee, I do agree with you, than when you throw yourself into a tackle when you're 2 yards away and you could probably block the cross whilst standing up. I just think that Jamie Carragher said you almost need to, in the box now, don't slide in unless you are 100% sure you're going to win the ball. And if you're going to charge anything down, put your hands behind your back. If you can't do that, it's on you. It's in the lap of the gods. You don't know where the ball's going. You don't know exactly where your arm's going to go, even if you can do it like that and slide in. And then we're asking players to slide in sideways on, which is not what they've been taught. Because my dad used to ref, some members of family still knows, all of them agreed the penalty was correctly given for handball under the laws as they stand. They don't like the law, though. Yep, many people don't like the law, but referee Gillett has very, very little control over that and has to do it as he sees it. Let's move on. Lots of amusement at my burglary analogy. I'm sure if I thought about it for a minute, I could come up with something better than that. Now, if you thought it couldn't get a little more tasty after that, I mean, this is just iconic now. Thomas Frank just stirring the pot brilliantly. And I have to say, with football managers and football players, when they're irritating fans in this way, they're often doing something right. And Thomas Frank is very, very clearly, in the way that Sir Alex Ferguson used to, making everybody in the stadium aware that he wants the referee to not let Bournemouth do any time wasting. Whether they were or not is up to you, but it's very clear that Frank, I honestly, I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was a great, in terms of theatre and entertainment, it was hilarious, I have to say. Obviously, fans get very emotional and very triggered by this sort of thing. But you know what he was doing? There's a stadium with only Brentford fans in. There's Bournemouth having to defend the lead. And he wants to, if that's the 1% or 0.1% advantage he can get for his team, i.e. every time there's a restart, the fans are going to be getting on the ref, speed it up, speed it up, speed it up, then so be it. It's not anywhere in the laws of football to turn around and tap your watch. Let's have one more look at it. Deary me. But does anyone like Thomas Frank? Well, I find him very amusing, Amy, but yeah, lots of people don't, do they? Very funny, but they were time wasting from 10 minutes onwards. Really rate Frank. Can't understand how can be under pressure if they don't go up. And yes, the watch campaign has to come, doesn't it? Craig was at the game. Can't believe a team that good. Time wasted for so long. Just as a neutral, just if you want a kind of pantomime villain in there, just to stir the pot, brilliant stuff. Don't get triggered by it. Sir Alex did it for years, didn't he? Let's move on from that. And here comes big decision number 2 for referee Gillett. Now, I really can't believe we're going to get any debate over this one. Surely. Surely we're not. So the ball goes forward. I tell you what, I would like to ask you, would Steve Cook have got himself in this kind of pickle that Chris Mepham did if he had made the game? So Mepham gets in all kinds of bother there. And Buemo takes it off him. And it's so silly from Mepham, isn't it? And Buemo is clear and is going to have a 1v1. He may score. He may not score. But I don't know whether it's just an instinct or something. But Mepham just reaches out the arm just to grab at him and obviously makes contact with Buemo's right calf there. And, of course, as soon as you do that, and it's with the arm, which you can't tackle with in football, can you? You know that you're in a lot of bother if referee sees it right. And denial of obvious goal-scoring opportunity, ahoy, with Buemo clear on goal and probably able to shoot with his next touch. Off goes Chris Mepham. Would Steve Cook have got himself in that kind of pickle? I know it's easy to say after the fact, isn't it? A tackle usually seen at Twickenham. Yeah, an ankle tap, wasn't it? If Mepham left Buemo would have missed. And that's the ridiculous thing. Alex Ferguson, again, I'm quoting him. He always used to say, trust your goalkeeper. Don't get a red card, especially in a game that could go to extra time. Trust your keeper. At that point, it was 1-1. The game would have been level. And, it's 11 versus 11. Goodness me. Agent Mepham got Brentford in his blood. Mepham is innocent, clearly grabbing a deadly Black Widow spider off Buemo's boot to save his life. So, look, if there's any amount of debate over the penalty, which I don't particularly imagine there was, there can't be any over the red card. Surely, only worth doing that in the last minute if you're winning. Yeah, there we go. Luis Suarez. For sure. Right, let's move on and into the second half. And it's just wild, this goal. Look at that. So I can't see who the blurry Brentford player is facing goal. Is it Marcondes? Lerma is arriving and Janel is arriving. All three of them land on the ball at the same time. Lerma just toe ends it away from Janel, who I think is, I guess he's shooting, but he's kind of in a tackle at the same time. He taps it about 6 inches, Lerma, and Janel follows through with his foot. And the ball, well, we all know where the ball's going to go. It flies in the top corner, for goodness sakes. Janel hits the deck. Lerma turns around and thinks, what the hell? I won the tackle, and it's resulted in a goal. And all of a sudden, it's 2-1 now versus 10 versus 11 in this game. Absolutely box office stuff. By the way, Marcus Force came on at half-time for Mads Roerslev. And if I'm remembering this correctly, Brian Buemo went and played wing-back and Sergi Canos swapped sides, if I'm remembering that correctly. a lot happened in this game. It's 2-1, and now we get Brentford pushing for the winner against 10 men. Here it comes, Marcondes. And honestly, I feel sorry for Cameron Carter-Vickers. He was brilliant over the 2 legs. He barely put a toe wrong. And for just this one, look, Marcondes absolutely larrups it across the 6-yard box. And you can just see Carter-Vickers is just going to let Marcus Force get in front of him. That was the only little toe he put wrong in the entire 2 legs, Carter-Vickers. I thought he was excellent. But Force gets in there. And look at these great scenes. Fans celebrating a goal again. Now, you love to see it, unless you're a Bournemouth fan, of course. And let's just leave you with that image as we go and have a look at the numbers. Get your comments in on the last 2 goals. Metham now sunning himself with the Wales squad. Well, there he goes. I think Yenelt has easily been our player of the season. Wow. Even better than Tony. Lerma getting the Brentford assist there. Yenelt, second best signing this season after Tony. Can't believe how much noise only 4,000 fans made. Well, that emotion pouring out and Brentford get through to the finals. Let's have a look at the numbers. And you do have to say, obviously there's the red card, which does colour the numbers in a certain way. 67% on the possession, 18 shots to 2. And of course, Bournemouth managed to force a big chance with that ludicrous bit of Brentford defending from the corner after 5 minutes. Bees forced themselves 4 big chances, 7 shots on target as well. And they get the win, and Brentford get to the final once again. And yet again, guys, so much for it being a lottery, dearie me. 3rd place beats 6th again. Any comments on this first leg? Sorry, guys, I'm having real trouble with the internet connection here. So I'm going to stay on the small screen here, and hopefully you can see the SofaScore split screen nice and big enough. Thank you, guys, for being patient. Cameron, fair play to Brentford. Where does this leave Bournemouth financially? Not good, you wouldn't think, Cameron. Remember, though, still going to get a lovely 35 million quid parachute payment land in the bank accounts for next season. Obviously, it doesn't all go in as one amount, does it? It goes in as broadcast, which is divided across the season. But you would think Arnaut Danjuma, David Brooks would be high-value players that people would want to sign. And you would think people like Jefferson Lerma on big wages as well, they may have to find loan ways out to deal with season 2 in the Championship, where financially it gets harder and harder. And of course, Bournemouth, not known for drawing big attendances or commercial revenues, will have had 0. I know everyone has had 0, but it's going to be hard work for Bournemouth, who have obviously still got a lot of liabilities. As you do build them up, the longer you're in the Premier League, the more of those big contracts that you build up. For sure, 10 goals for Force, not bad. Do you know what, as well, Speng? I don't think he was very good for a vast proportion of the season as well. I thought he started the season really well and kind of tailed off. So I think he could have got even more throughout the season if he'd kept things up. I think Bournemouth are in trouble, quite possibly. Massive clearances of cherries are coming. Anti-football lost. Mark's words, not mine. Brentford won. Can't understand why the Cherries chose to play this way. I think things would have changed had the red card not happened. But Mark, we've seen it. We've seen it. And very, very famously, and I was at the game, and Bolton fans still struggle with this to this day. Bolton versus Ipswich in the playoff semi-final. When it's that tight and there's that much on the line, sometimes teams just lose their heads, don't they? And Bolton on that day, particularly, even though their fans still get wound up because there was 3 penalties given against them and 2 red cards. And if you ever ask a Bolton fan, which decisions do you disagree with? They will not give you a straight answer because they know deep down their team lost their heads. And I think there was a lot of losing of heads going on. I thought there was a very deliberate attempt to wind up Ivan Toney, the star player for Brentford as well. And it didn't work. It didn't work in the end. And Toney played a long time on a yellow card. And he's a emotional fella as well, Toney. So I thought he played it quite well in the end. But look, it's high-level elite sport. You do what you have to do, don't you? And I think Begovic at that point thought that was the right thing to do to try and unsettle. We'll remember the Joey Barton thing with Aguero and Tevez. And the thing was, Barton had been sent off and he was told, take one with you. Try and wind someone up and, get them to react and take one with you. So there we go. Ridley, they said these players give us 1 year in the Championship. They haven't got up. Squad isn't in a good place. No continuity. Not a big club. Traditionally, they'll fall down the table. Ridley has just outlined the worst case scenario for Bournemouth now. Oh, Chris, nice one. Chris has got his ticket for Wembley. Enjoy, my friend. Enjoy, Chris, and good luck to the Bees in the final. Well played. Bournemouth didn't quite make it in the end. I noticed Begovic more than I did the Bournemouth. Well, they had nothing after the red card, did they? For goodness sakes. Agreed, Cameron. Fans definitely changed the energy, of course. Of course, they were there in the first leg, though, weren't they? But yeah, tremendous stuff. Iain, we hope you get your ticket. Everyone, fingers crossed for Iain on that one. Yeah, good man, Chris. Good luck to you, fella. Predictions for Saturday. Joe will do a whole show on that, buddy. That'll come later in the week. Sunday Times Match Report describes Begovic antics as someone who has just found out he's made his... Stop it. That's very funny, but I'm not going to read the last bit. But yeah, I think the whole thing with Begovic is if you wanted to identify one player on the pitch who was classy and experienced and above this type of thing, it probably would have been Begovic as well. Incredible. Gibler wants one more salute to the watch. We'll do it one more time. It's iconic. Here he comes. Tap that watch, Thomas. Right. Congratulations to Brentford. They are through to the final. Remember, Brentford fans, if you get up dearly departed next season, I will still be covering your team. And of course, Bournemouth fans, stay with me. It may be a bit raw at the moment, but we'll still be covering your club next season. And a club that we'll be covering next season is Barnsley as well, because it was Swansea 1, Barnsley 1 in the second semi-final. Swansea doing the job, doing the business, and getting themselves to Wembley. A fine exhibition of tournament football, knockout football, playoff football. Call it what you like. And we can bung through those cliches, can't we, about tournament football. Don't take risks. Ride your luck and take your chances. And Steve Cooper nailed it. He nailed it in these two games. And Swansea get the victory over brave, and I'm not being patronising because they've been amazing, brave Barnsley, obviously coming from League One, surviving last season and making the playoffs this season. One tie too far in the end for Barnsley. And I did say in the build-up to this, Barnsley, I do think, would have preferred Brentford or Bournemouth, because Swansea played in a way that I don't think Brentford or Bournemouth would have, in terms of, quite risk-averse, very smart, very streetwise. And I don't think Brentford or Bournemouth would have done that. I know we just had a conversation about Bournemouth losing their heads a little bit, but their game plan was not a pragmatic one still, was it? Anyway, here are your teams for Swansea. Woodman, Norton, Cabango, Gray and Bidwell. No Connor Roberts starting in either of the games. So you would imagine now he will not start the final. Who knows? We'll get into that. Fulton, Grimes, Hurahan across the middle. Lowe and Ayew are the inside forwards. Wayne Routledge, Cooper. Well, we can't really question Cooper because he's got through the tie. So I'm guessing he'd gone for experience, and I have to sit here and say it worked, especially when you see how the first goal comes about. On the bench for the Swans, Hamer, Bennett. And remember, we questioned, Guay and Cabango over Bennett. Well, he got that one right, didn't he? Latabodier, Smith, Roberts. We questioned Roberts not starting. He got it right. Manning, Dander, Cullen out, and Routledge in, obviously, and Morgan Whitaker on the bench. For Barnsley, Collins, Sibic, Hellick, Anderson, Styles, Britton, Moa, Palmer. No surprises there at all. Up top, a little bit of a surprise because Carlton Morris, who looked very dangerous in the second half of the first leg, starts over Daryl DK, or, well, Freeser and DK both step out, and Adebayo and Morris play with Corley Woodrow up the top. Let's have a look at the opener in this one. And not much to talk about before the goal. Very tight. What you have, you hold. And Swansea, cognizant as they were through the two ties, don't let Barnsley get the press going. If they get the press going, play over the top of it, get in shape. And there's quality players in that team that will get you a goal. And Andre Ayew did it in the first leg, and Matt Grimes is going to do it in the second leg. There is Michael Hellick with one arm around the left shoulder, one arm around the waist, and a little trip as well into the bargain there. Wayne Routledge drawing the foul there. In comes the free kick. And again, I mean, look, I'm no footballer, but surely the message again with Callum Britton and with Lloyd Kelly, don't dive in. And there's Grimes, and Britton comes charging out, doesn't he, and dives in. We're in two things can be true category here. It is a bit hot-headed from Britton, who's a great player, by the way, big fan. But stand him up, block the shot. He flies past him, and Grimes then, good feet by Grimes, and a player of his quality is going to find that far corner. Lot of traffic ahead of Woodman in the goal, and it flies into the corner. Any comments on this one, this opening goal? AJ never felt Barnsley could outwit the Swans. Cooper learned from last season. Do you think Cooper experienced a tournament football? Yeah, absolutely. Certainly not going to do him any harm. Really, really impressed with Steve Cooper. He's had his critics, but did really well over the semi. He nailed it, didn't he, Amy? Anything more? Wiley from Swansea, impressive stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Swansea are probably the worst team in the playoffs. If Brentford turn up, it could be a battering. Okay. Cat amongst the pigeons. Guay outstanding in both games. Lucky we have him. Well, you never know. If there's a promotion on the cards, you might get him next season as well. Arkle, think we practiced this formation and tactics specifically for the playoffs. Well, there you go. It was back four, wasn't it? Mr. E thought Barnsley had them worried for a short spell. We'll get on to that. Swans managed to soak it up. Went exactly as I said it would, although I was a bit nervous towards the end. Fingers crossed for the ballot. Yeah, good luck all you Swans fans. Came from the keeper. Yeah, good point, actually, Chris. I did miss that out. I think that Collins thought he wasn't going to be able to catch that, and he went two-handed with the punch. Do you want to see my beautiful face? There we go. I think the internet problems have cleared, so I can take my annoying message off the bottom, hopefully. There we go. We'll switch it with that one. Do some more pluggery. Hopefully that's all okay. It looks like it's sorted itself out. A couple more comments as we get on to the other stuff. Great stuff from Guay. Yeah, Guay and Cabango. Brilliant, weren't they? Besotted have a petition trying to get more fans allowed at Wembley. Good luck, the Besotted guys. Cooper got it tactically spot on. No argument from me about that. Into the second half. It's a great goal from Barnsley, actually. I have to say, there are chances beforehand, and Barnsley only really got some momentum here. Set play there, Morris, back post, Woodman. It's not a big chance, is it? Callum Britton again. He had the big chance in the first leg, but look at Jake Bidwell. He's stood up. There's a lesson to Lloyd Kelly, isn't it? Stood up, ready to go. He's not going to throw himself in, and he waits for the shot and he blocks the shot. Woodman's well positioned as well. Here comes the equaliser, which, as I said, is a really fine goal, actually, by Barnsley. And this is the only way they caught Swansea. They actually caught them up the pitch on the counter. And you can see, bless him, Conor Hurahan, great player, but he's never going to catch Jordan Williams, is he? You can tell already there. there's one key moment in here. It's very good from Williams, but Matt Grimes is either going to foul him or win the ball there, isn't he? And he slips over. Grimes would have had players shouting. I know we don't like to hear it, but it happens. Stop him on that counter. And he just slips at the point. He's either going to make the tactical foul or hopefully, for his sake, win the ball. And this is brilliant, isn't it? Knocked in by Jordan Williams. And look, he could try and clip a speculative one. DK versus Gray there. Morris on the edge of the box, Norton covering. But he's actually going to pick out 9, Coyle Woodrow, who first time sweeps that into the net. And it was going to take something like that to beat Gray, Woodman and Cabango on the day, wasn't it? A really good goal by Barnsley. But the only goal of the game for them, Carlton Morris, tit for tat, I guess, a bit there with Ben Cabango. Can't get that header on target. And then, speaking of Matt Grimes falling over, Corey Smith's going to fall over. You're thinking, go around the keeper, stick it in the net. Off to Wembley you go, and Smith falls over with the 1-on-1. And it ends 1-1. And I think Ishmael respects the way that Cooper played it in the end. Good embrace between the two of them. And we said before the game, didn't we, tactically, they're the two chess players, with maybe Woodgate and Frank thinking more about pattern of play and continuity in the delivery of it. And look, Swansea always look at big chances. I know people get fed up with XG, but look, 1 big chance to 0. So don't think of it in terms of Swansea finishing, but think of it in that they stopped Barnsley creating any big chances in the game. Only 3 shots on target. Please don't get triggered by the term big chance. That's a SofaScore definition, depending on position of the player and pressure on the shooter, obviously. But there's your game plan. You're 1-0 up from the first leg, and you know if you draw the game or you keep a clean sheet, you are through to the final. And that's what they did. And they did have quality when they needed it. The 2 goals, Ayew and Grimes, quite similar in some ways, curling shots left-footed into the far corner, weren't they? And it's tournament football. I know I'm repeating myself. Tournament football, knockout football is not often about, like, you take a Brentford or a Norwich through the season where they've created a ton of chances and scored a load of goals. Watford, slightly different, I think. That doesn't win you tournaments, does it? Sometimes it does. I'm thinking Brazil in 2002, where they had Ronaldo, Rivaldo and Ronaldinho up front and Cafu and Roberto Carlos. And it's just like, go on, attack, we'll win. And away you go. But invariably, there's always a point, even in a 2-legged 3-game tournament, there's always a point where something goes against you and you just have to dig in. And Swansea were able to do that very, very well. Connor, great finish by Woodrow. Never really worried by them. Yeah, and I know what you mean, Connor. It was a half chance, wasn't it? And a beautiful finish. And I suspect if you spoke to Woodman and Cabango and Guay and said that's the only thing that's beaten you over 180 minutes, they'd say, good goal, Woodrow, and we played it well. Mr. Cadbury's parrot from Corey Smith. Down he goes. Cooper gets stick from us because we're used to a passing philosophy. Cooper is very tactically astute and does what's best to win. He's done a great job, but I think most of our fans won't love him. Well, I hate these words because they've been said to me many times, being an Ipswich fan, but be careful what you wish for is the thing then, because, yep, you can go back to your passing philosophy and given the way Swansea's funded and what Cooper and Potter have had to sell during the time in the Championship, I think he's doing a rather fabulous job, isn't he? Back-to-back Man of the Match awards for Guay. Do you think both were deserved? Yeah, I would. I mean, you couldn't say he didn't deserve them to flip it. Maybe Woodman, or it was those 3, wasn't it? Woodman, Cabango and Guay just catches the eye, doesn't he? He's just a quality player for sure. I think Jamal Lowe will step up at Wembley. We will talk about all of that as we go on. Let me know if you've got any questions as pertaining to those playoff semi-finals, and we'll go a little bit longer on the stream right here, right now. Can I just do a quick plug, guys? A quick Cards plug. You love to see it. 20% off your order at Cards Plug. Get yourself one of these bad boys. Visit cardsplug.com/Bloom. Enter discount code Bloom at checkout. Just put your photo in and your flag. You can see I'm a 92 rated central midfielder. That makes all the sense in the world, doesn't it? And if you really want, if you're going to order and you want the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel badge, I will send that to you. And then get your stats going. I had an independent team of scientists decide my stats, and that's what they came up with. I've just got to go with it, 95 passing. What are you going to do? So 20% off your order at Cards Plug. Visit cardsplug.com/Bloom. Enter discount code Bloom at checkout. Get any questions in if you want to do any Q&A for the next 5 minutes. All quiet on the questions at the moment. We'll do some if some appear. Very, very quickly, please subscribe, ring the bell, etc. on YouTube, comment, bring your knowledge into the stream, super chat at any point during the show, and patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom for all of that good stuff. Here comes some questions. Ben, Euro squad announced tomorrow. Prediction video today. Do you know, I might, Chris? I've already filmed the Aston Villa review for Dearly Departed, so that's going to go up later today. It's Shaylee's brother's birthday, though, so I'm not around at all this evening. So maybe it'll go out in the morning, but yeah, sure. Do you think Cooper will go more attacking or more defensive in the final? I think he'll go slightly more attacking, because the one thing that's now out of the equation is 3 forwards and 2 wing backs pressing you for the entire game. So I don't think they'll have it in the strategy that part of the game plan where it's going to be get loose. But if one of the commenters was right earlier, I don't know whether it was you, Kieran, whether that system was specifically for Barnsley, I'm not so sure, because it was a long time before they were guaranteed to play Barnsley. So he may stick with the back 4. I feel like Brentford's defence can be there for the taking with the pace of Lowe and quality of Ayew. Yeah, true. You would definitely say without, and this isn't a criticism of either team, you would suggest that Brentford can be got at the back because of their pattern of play. They're a very attacking team that's predicated on creating chances. You would say that Swansea, pound for pound, if it's Norton, Bidwell, and as a unit, Guay, Cabango, Woodman, probably have the edge in the back 4s against Raya. Hey, look, it could be Raya, Henry, Dalsgaard, Janssen, Pinnock. We don't know. Or will they play the back 3? We'll deal with all of this in the preview, but I take your point. Do you think Barnsley can consolidate next year, or will their tactics be found out? I think they can consolidate, Chris. Their tactics will be found out 100%, but can you stop them? I think their tactics have already been found out. Everyone knows what they're going to do. And I suspect there'll be a lot of managers watching or giving Steve Cooper a buzz and watching that playoff semi-final and thinking, right, okay. And it's all very well me sitting here saying, oh, that's how you stop Barnsley. It's easy if you've got Woodman, Cabango, Guay, and you've got Andre Ayew to score the goal in the first leg and Matt Grimes in the second. So Barnsley will still beat a lot of teams next season if they have the same manager and most of the same players. So 91 dribble with them legs. Absolutely, Lee. You know the score. Swansea will want revenge after what happened in the semi. Yeah, narrative ahoy. What now for Barnsley? Will they keep Ishmael? Do you know, I think they will, Sophie. And I know you're probably referring to the West Brom job and the Blades job as well. I think they will. I think they will keep him. I think the big parachute teams now will. There's Chris Wilder there and there's Slaviša Jokanovic who've got promotions. Amy, and we should say Amy, brilliant, was the fan writer that I contacted for the Football 365 piece. So give her a follow on Twitter. and her presence is going from strength to strength. So thank you, Amy, for that contribution. What do I think Brentford's weaknesses are? I think it's a classic case of their biggest strengths are their biggest weaknesses, aren't they? And that is the fact that their entire premise of Brentford is to create chances. They're not a defensive team. Often teams that set up this way do end up having good defensive records. You'll know all about that if you're a Swansea fan, because the Brendan Rodgers teams conceded very few goals, but they weren't defensive, were they? They just didn't give the ball away very often. Ergo, the other team doesn't create many big chances. And then you get the good defensive record. Someone just put down here, yeah, Pontus Jansson. That's up for debate, isn't it? Has big match Pontus. I think if Brentford do get through and Jansson has a good game, that will get put to bed. But we do still have the question about Mr. Jansson at the back. And you know what the game plan's going to be, don't you? It's going to be, right, don't let Brentford get up ahead of steam, especially if they've got Rico Henry back and Dalsgaard as the wide fullbacks. And stick in there. Quality from Hurahan, set plays maybe. Quality from Mayhew, there always is. Pace of low. You know that's what's going to be the plan. Ishmael, fancy a trip down the road. Do you fancy him, Lee? At Blades. What else are we saying? What is Wembley like? First time if I get tickets. Massive, Iain. I've sat in most bits of Wembley now. I don't know what they're going to open up, but the best view by far is that little middle ring. But sometimes that's full of the prawn sandwich brigade, isn't it? So, it's great and enjoy it if you get there. Let me know if you do get tickets. Tony versus Guy Kabango will be a good watch. Yeah, absolutely. That's basically the division's top striker against what we'd probably... I'm trying to think in terms of Norwich. Okay, look, Sierralta and Ekon were really good, weren't they? But let's just say a very good centre-back pairing and a very good goalkeeper as well. Swansea will defend and rely on individual quality to get a goal. Yep, 100%. Nothing wrong with that. Do you think they'll let fans in for the final? Yeah, we're getting 4,000 each. Raya and mistakes. Remember, David Raya got caught out by Joe Bryan and a 40-yard free kick last time, didn't they? Drew both games this season. They'll be biting this game. Will they tear our defence apart or will we strangle them and take the one big chance? Beautifully set up, isn't it? Absolutely beautifully set up. Good point, Chris. Getting over the line. Could it be a psychological thing for Brentford? They've definitely got the talent, haven't they? Have they got the mentality? Can they do it this time? Low v Jansson. Just depends whether it's a back three or a back four, doesn't it, Liam, as to whether Jansson gets exposed for sure. Steep seats, yeah, absolutely. The Villa Derby playoff final. I was on halfway, but I was high up. You can check that back on my YouTube channel elsewhere. On Ishmael. Okay, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. He's now got a reputation. It won't be Tony versus their centre-backs. We play with a 2 up top now with Mbuemo off him. Still going to be Tony coming up against one or other of the centre-backs. So the point does still stand, however the front is configured, doesn't it? The last line of attack versus the last line of defence. Have Ipswich signed anyone yet? I'm not sure. Did Callum Connolly go through? I can't remember. Who do you think the best player for Brentford has been so far? Ivan Toney. It's fairly straightforward. Won that one. Isn't it? The main man there. I think Swans played better at Brentford. Yeah, I remember watching the game at the Liberty and Swansea were lucky to get away in that one, weren't they? In this kind of tight game, I usually back the defensive team. Either way, just looking forward to watching. Absolutely. Raya cost them the win at Swansea. Oh, let's not get into this. Fouled by Bidwell. It's gone. Move on. They will reconvene on Saturday. I don't think Ishmael has much to say in regards to signings rather than the board and the players. Yeah, we will find out. All those escalators at Wembley. Club Wembley, Sophie. Did you go in there? You're a woman of means. Have a sit-down meal in there, can't you, for goodness sake, in the old Club Wembley. Arkle, I was at the top for last time Swans got promoted. I had to climb up using my hands. And you get those people who aren't used to football stadiums, they're terrified as they're going up each step. thinking they're going to fall all the way to the pitch if they turn around. Deary me. Thomas Frank needs a bigger watch. I think that's a request for one more look at that, isn't it? Deary me. The S-housery. Let's just put that on there as well. Lovely stuff. Right, any more in the chat? My apologies for the internet connection. We're going to work on that through the summer and hopefully make things better. Aston Villa Dearly Departed review is coming up later in the afternoon. We've already filmed that. And as Chris suggested, we will get a England squad prediction or reaction, whichever way around, however much time I've got. We'll get that done at some point as well. So thank you, everybody, for watching. That was our review. Second from last, because we'll review the final of the season. It was Brentford 3, Bournemouth 1, Swansea 1, Barnsley 1. Brentford and Swansea qualify for the playoff final, which, despite apparently being a lottery, third place and fourth place in the final for the second year running, and only one win in 16 years now for sixth position. The wild days of the 90s are a long, long time ago with parachutes and FFP now, put it that way. Right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please hit subscribe, ring the bell before you go. What have we got coming up? We've got Nappers. I've seen him in the chat there. He's going to be back on Friday telling us about League One. Blackpool versus Lincoln in the final. They're looking forward to that one as well. We get previews later in the week, and we'll be there for Football 365 one more time this week. Come in. Thank you, everybody. As we transition now into, we're going to be thinking about the Euros from tomorrow as well on the channel. So looking forward to all of that. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And it's a big, beloved over and out from me. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.